Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome to Anhaara, this episode. Beyond the call of duty is the topic for the day. Very topical topic that has much relevance to the public and private sector in the Maldives, and especially the vast public service that we have, which warrants a tremendous improvement as it is being urged as a matter of national call. So we have a special guest, Dr. Aly Shameem. Dr. Aly Shameem has been a senior government functionary, formerly president of the Civil Service Commission as well, apart from previous senior posts he held, and currently assistant professor at the National University. Welcome.
Thank you very
Welcome,
much.
sir.
Thank you for having me.
Beyond the call of duty is an urge employers always have for the employees, and which is also an expectation as well. They have been urging, they always urge employees to go beyond the call of duty. But what are the challenges that stand in the way of such an effort on the part of the employees? How would you assess such scenarios?
Yeah, it is, I think, of vital importance to understand the current scenes. What we observe from employees is that they make the basic minimum in terms of effort to discharge their duties on their job. So beyond the call of duty, these days people don't have much interest to go beyond this call of duty. So mainly there could be, I think, many factors or reasons why our average Maldivian employees do not go beyond the call of duties. In the private sector, especially in the tourism sector, perhaps there are most employees, they go beyond the call of the duty. But if you look at the public sector, what I observe is that there is, for some reason, reluctance, or in other words, motivation on the part of the employees, staff, to perform beyond the required time, or sometimes it's very hard to assess the competency or the performance of the staff. How much effort do they put in producing a good result, a good performance? Most of the time, due to many factors, what I observe is that the staff are normally demotivated and they do not go beyond the duty. I mean, running an extra mile for what? Something that you gain, or if there is total satisfaction in the job, then people will put extra effort in producing good result in the whatever task they are undertaking. So I would think the main reason for employees or staff not making extra effort in their job to produce better results or to deliver services in a timely manner, they don't have the desire or the motivation to make extra efforts. This could be due to many factors that demotivate them. So we know that intrinsic motivation is something that the employee himself generates in order to make him more productive. Then we have external factors that are required to motivate staff. These external factors would include things like bonuses the staff receive, the auxiliary services, again, or benefits given to staff. And on top of that, there is also the role of the supervisors or the seniors. If staffs are not treated fairly, if they notice biases on the part of the senior supervisors or the executive staff, then the general staff or subordinate staffs, they lose interest. They become demotivated. And therefore, it is important that we look into the factors. If a person is found to be underperforming, then the executive staff supervisors should look into the matter to see the organizational, bring some changes to organization. Of course, changes occur due to changes in the performance of the staff. Changes cannot be brought. Of course, changes can occur if you provide more facilities, more conducive environment for the staff to work, then they get motivated. These are external factors. For example, technology is utilized. You are given more gadgets or equipment that can help expedite your work. Then they would certainly get motivated. But generally, there is an observation that most of the public servants are demotivated and they make basic minimum effort in their call of duty. So there are, as I said, many factors, and we can look at some of the motivational theories that theorists have come up explaining how the staff should be motivated or why they don't make extra effort or go beyond the call of duty. As I said, there are multiple factors, and we can look at one by one and see whether we can diagnose these factors.
As far as the accountability is concerned, how far, if you look at private sector especially, you find they are more accountable to their superiors, to their employers, and they tend to sometimes outdo among the colleagues, outperform one another.
Yes.
And then they succeed. They go up the ladder, rise in their career. As compared to the public sector, we don't find that positive vibe among the staff, as you said. And also the drive to succeed, the drive to go up the career, to live up to expectations. Why is that? What do you think could be done to energize the staff to accomplish, to have a sense of accomplishment as they go up the ladder? They are accomplished staff as far as education is concerned, experience is concerned. They are, higher up, especially there is a large segment of the civil servants and the public servants who are placed at the higher up in the organizations. And yet the accountability doesn't seem at par with the public expectations. What is falling short here?
There are many reasons for underperforming the public staff, or say those who work in the ministries. Usually the government has no competitor, unlike the private sector. The private sector is always the platform for producing innovations and new methods of work, habits or performance standards they set. And then there's better accountability, as you said, for private sector. Because in private sector, mostly a business or firms where they will have competitors, and therefore they have to compete with them in order to become productive, profitable, and successful. In the case of public service, there's no competition to compare with. For example, you take Ministry of, say, Trade, Economic Development. There is no other ministry to compete with them. And oftentimes, the civil servants are permanent servants, and they have this, what you call, a comfort zone where they keep performing perhaps bare minimum, because they don't have, like private sector in the, say, for example, resorts, in the hotels, city hotels, you get what they call service charges, and you get maybe sometimes tips even by the guest or tourists. There are additional motivational tips they get, unlike public servants or civil servants. They got only the salary. In addition to that, in the case of Maldives, there are no other fringe benefits or auxiliary services like housing scheme. Sri Lanka and India too, civil servants, when they take up the job, they are entitled for housing. Under some scheme they provide, depending on the salary or the position of the civil servant, they are given there's provision of housing according to the standard or quality they want. They can get housing benefits or provision for their living quarters. In the case of Maldives, housing is one of our biggest, what you call, challenge, because of lack of land, and the cost of what you call building houses is very high in Maldives, and therefore civil servants or public servants, I mean those who work as judicial staff or parliamentary staff, they are public servants. And the civil servants normally in the case of Maldives are those employees working in the ministries mainly. So their public servants don't have much motivational choices, or their lack of scope for additional fringe benefits or auxiliary services that can be provided to civil servants. The trend has been over the years that like every 5 years there is a rise or increment of their salary. Other than that, they don't have a monetary benefits. So therefore, what we observe is that most of public servants lack motivation, and they don't make extra effort in their job to produce better performances of production. And therefore, let us look at some of the theories which explain the motivational factors. Certainly, we must aim to treat every employee equally. There should be no biases. Biases can really demotivate staff. Then it can affect even
partiality or favoritism, I refer to.
Exactly, yeah. And favoritism, nepotism, these should be totally avoided or banned within the organization. There shouldn't be such thing. But human beings, being weak characters, oftentimes we notice the bosses, the executive staff, the senior supervisors happen to treat differently to different staff. When this happens, there's total demotivation. And so therefore, let us look at some of the explanations given by some theories of motivation. And here, may I look at, there's Herzberg theory, satisfaction versus dissatisfaction. Here it says that potential satisfiers or motivators for whether private or public servants, employees, are achievement, there must be some kind of achievement. It says that he gets satisfied and your productivity will improve, your performance will improve, and you will make extra effort to deliver your services or perform smarter than what normally you do. So achievement meaning that they get promotion or they get some kind of at least recognition by the seniors that certain such person has been performing very good, say, and if somebody is working exceptionally good, then there must be a recognition. So then he is achieving something. So it motivates staff. Then there's work itself. For example, the environment where you work. If they can be make it more pleasant, the workstation given to a particular staff, it can also help satisfy him. Then that will create drive him to perform better. And then responsibility. Sometimes when you are given promotion or given additional responsibility, you feel like you are now important person and you can make decisions. And therefore more responsibility is given. Sometimes the staff get motivated. And of course, if you give what they call that is span of command, where you should have one boss or supervisor for each staff, not two bosses, then it becomes confusing to the staff, right? Then you have a span of control, mean enough responsibility that he can perform or attend. There shouldn't be overburden. Staff should not be overburdened with the responsibilities, which again demotivates the staff. So according to Hasberg, potential satisfiers or motivators for staff are achievement, recognition, work itself, then responsibility, advancement, and growth. Both personal growth and also in terms of hierarchy, if he has been raised, it becomes growth. That definitely there is an external factor that motivates staff. Now let us look at what they call dissatisfiers, things that demotivate the staff. These include, according to the theorist Hasberg, they include company policy and administration. When there are too much of procedures to be followed, rules set that the staff find very hard or it becomes cumbersome for them to follow all these rules, then they get disappointed. So much of rules, normally the rules are coming here to raise the standard of the performance, quality of their discharges, the duties. Then in order to maintain the certain standard of their services or productions, there are set rules, right? But some of them can be antagonizing the staff, and then the staff will, of course, as grievances, experience. They will share the experiences or things that demotivate to the executive staff. But if they don't consider those rules and relaxes them or remove those rules, then the staff get demotivated. So if there are dissatisfiers, then certainly teamwork is one of the best spirit that really make organization function successfully. So teamwork will break if you have so much of dissatisfied factors. So
whatever tedium that sets in will be broken when teamwork is imposed.
Effective. Exactly. So supervision, for example, if you are nitpicking, like, smaller things you magnify and holding responsible the staff, if you have been finding fault always with the staff, then these are also, according to Hasberg, potential dissatisfiers. So supervisors normally he himself or herself should be a role model, a motivator who try to help in both, say, in terms of external motivational factors, making conducive the environment to work. And supervision is not to find fault or blame the staff, but rather giving help and let him upskilling or improving his performance. At the same time, maintaining the standard set for performances. Supervisors should always scrutinize staff to see that they perform to the standard required by the company or the ministry. But interpersonal relations, again, is very important to build teamwork and motivate staff. Good understanding between staff, no suspicion. If the staff find another staff as a threat, then there will be demotivating factors. Interpersonal relations, you should avoid as much as possible suspicion, unfairness, bias. These are triggering factors that break teamwork, disfight staffs, and staff become like they raise the grievances and they will not give cooperation. This is if such scenarios are found, it is sad because it will negatively affect the production or performance of the ministry or the company. So work conditions are again very important. There must be enough room and space that the staff can independently work without disturbing his teammate or a colleague sitting next to him or her. So then salary and security. These are again, as Hasberg says, salary and security very important. In some private sector, oftentimes there are the what we call budding companies or just companies trying to establish themselves. New companies oftentimes faces challenges like inability to disperse what we call salaries on time. Sometimes these are factors that can affect motivation. Then the security. In the case of security, I mean job security, that you will not be terminated all of a sudden when the supervisor is upset with you. There must be job security, that I'm coming here. If it's a contract job, 5 years, I will be here. If not, as long as you perform well and follow the standards and adhere to the policies and the procedures established, you should be able to continue and grow within the company or the ministry.
We are nearing the break time. So before we go to the break time, would you like to refer to an international expert?
Yeah, there is this business professor called Shev Kira who explained some of the motivational factors why the staff or employees do not go beyond the call of duty. So there are a lot of theories which says that people's performance can be improved when they're motivated. Normally 80% of their productivity performance can be improved if they're motivated. But if you are not motivated and just only attending call of duty, that means you are performing 40 to 50% of their potential or competency. You don't go beyond that. So that is why motivational factors are important. And in our management, in Maldivian management, this is one area which is very weak, especially in the public sector. Motivational factors are not looked into, and there is also attitude problems, of course. This is caused mainly because there's always tension between the political staff and the public staff. I mean, civil servants and political servants are appointees who are being placed in a ministry or an organization by the ruling party. And this political party, it's very difficult sometimes get them work together as a team because of many other factors. So,
and of late, the political staff versus the public servants, the ratio is rising and turning the organizations into top-heavy structure.
That is also,
is it effective?
That is also a big concern these days, because according to management principles and public sector, the permanent staff or civil servants or public servants should not be overtaken by political appointees who are temporary staff. Once the government changes, these staff will change. And if they are, the political staffs are experts in the field, have good experience and guide the civil servant, then they are fine. Most of the time they in terms of their title or position or job, they are senior executives who can give commands or directives to the public servants.
They often decide the tone and tenor and the mandate to be performed.
So if they cannot work within the team spirit, if there is a lot of differences sometimes between civil servants or public servant and the political servant, then it can bring into a halt the whole organization or ministry can be chaotic, underperforming, and having what they call total mess in the organization. Let us look at we hear Shiv Kira, the international expert on motivation, what he says about.
We will take a break with this note, and we'll be right back after the break in a while. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We are discussing on the topic beyond the call of duty. So for organizations to go to the next level, always there is this urge or this need for organizations to go beyond the call of duty. And this can only happen when the staff steps in to achieve this goal. So we have this video, as Dr. Shameem just referred to. Take a look and let's see how it comes of this.
I've asked this one question to many decision makers all over the world. If there was one thing you'd like to see change that would make your organization more productive, what would it be? And everybody came back with one word, and they said attitude. If our people had a better attitude, we'd have a better teamwork, quality would go up, bottom line would go up. The most important word in the English language is the word attitude today. There was a study conducted which said 85% of the time a person gets a job or a promotion is because of their attitude. 15% how smart they are, how many facts and figures they know. And almost 100% of education dollars go to teach facts and figures, which accounts for only 15% of success. And what we are talking is the 85%. Which is what brings us to the point, it is not our position, but our disposition that determines success. Now, what is disposition? Disposition is nothing else but our attitude. What is the difference between skill and competence? Skill is an ability. Competence is ability along with the attitude and the desire to perform. There are many skillful people who are totally incompetent because they don't have the skill, they don't have the desire and the willingness to perform, which is what says ability is important. Ability will take you up there, but dependability is crucial. Why? Because if you have a person with all the ability, but if they're not dependable, do you want them? Obviously not. Which says ability without dependability is a liability, and that is crucial.
Welcome back. Beyond the call of duty. So attitude is making a big difference. As it is often said, there is a saying, it's the attitude, not the aptitude, which determines your altitude. So attitude matters a lot, not just education, not just experience. So what elevates you to the next position within an organization, within a structure, has much to do with your attitude. How would you expand on this particular thing as regards the leadership, the role of leadership to make organizations more efficient?
Exactly. This is intrinsic value or motivation factor that drives the person. What he called, Chef Kira is one of the leading international expert in the field of motivation. So he explains here the difference between skill and competency. And attitude, of course, he says, when a staff is being elevated or been screened or assessed, 15% of the assessment goes to what is called his skills, the qualification he has, that is 15%. But then the rest, 85% in the job performance, they are looking, supervisors are looking at 85% your attitude, meaning the way your values, how the kind of drive you have to perform better, what he called the desire. So if there is no desire, which desire comes with motivation to perform better, then so without saying lip service or warming up the chair, you are on the move to perform multifunctions, and then you have the drive. But this drive comes from, according to Chef Kira, from both what he called competency factors, which is ability plus the desire to perform better. So in our staff, in the case of Maldivian, when we look at, a lot of staff today are recruited based on the qualifications, which is the entry requirement. To succeed in the recruitment, you have to, of course, meet the criteria or the required standard, include having degree certificates. This is what we call qualification. But then in the interview, normally when they are recruiting staff, the applicants are interviewed and they are looking into see the staff motivation and the desire to perform better. So if you don't have positive thinking and positive attitude, then you become a kind of a person always complaining, or what in the way we call Fatfaya Barwa, a person who is not initiating, but rather he is a lethargic person who doesn't want to make initiative or efforts. Then, so what I call this so-called competency that comes from ability to perform plus desire to do better, I call this what I call being a self-starter. A person having positive mindset, attitude, and thinking would be a self-starter, meaning he will initiate, he will run extra mile to perform better, and a person would have drive or rigor to perform better. So, therefore, we have many factors when we look at our local administration or management. There are so many factors that demotivate the staff, that the staff do not work beyond the call of duty. Therefore, they don't try to achieve perfection. The minimum basic they perform and then they call off the day. So this is the kind of attitude or mentality we find in most of the staff. Due respect and recognition to the, of course, a substantial amount of staff in every public or private sector organization, they do put their soul and and heart into their work to perform better. That's why all these companies plus government ministries are surviving and continuing to deliver services. But then we want all the staff, 100% to be motivated and then perform better, and then we have more better results. And you can also achieve cost benefit, meaning that instead of recruiting more and more staff, with few staff, with their excellent performance, you can make, if it is a business, more profitable business, more sustaining. On the part of public sector, of course, people will give due recognition and appreciation for the kind of services, quality services delivered by the civil servants. But every ministry, when you say Ministry of Foreign Affairs, normally the quality of the foreign affairs, the image of foreign affairs is being projected by the staff. It's not the magnificent building in which they live. It is the performance of the staff. If the staff are motivated, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs functions very well. Otherwise...
And the performance at the missions.
Exactly, yeah. So otherwise, although the building is very beautiful and magnificent, the staff inside, if they are underperforming, then the what do you call it, citizens, the public will be unhappy and have a very bad image of the institution of this.
So we policy frameworks often, there are policies within organizations, especially in the corporate world, corporate enterprises, policy frameworks such that staff work is measured and rewarded accordingly, proportionate to the efficiency or the effectiveness they exhibit, or they prove as they prove themselves. But before coming to those details, before I invite you to dwell on those rewarding system and policy framework effectiveness, I would like to invite Dr. Sattar for his take on this particular topic beyond the call of duty. Dr. Sattar.
The fact that we took this topic of going beyond the call of duty is because of its inherent advisory ring. Whenever somebody is working at a job, there is this thing called, will you be able to do something more than what you're paid for? And I think that is a great test for us to know whether a person is fully committed to the work or not. As a person who has been working in government service and international service for so many years, I have come across so many people who are very good technically, but when it comes to giving a little more to the organization, there is a bit of reticence. And I think that is because of their own nature. And that's something that has to be taught very early in life. That which will give something more to society will be a good benefit that we try to promote in our own ways. And so the whole idea of doing something for no other benefit but for the publics or the societies is a great ethical behavior that you can promote. And I think in our lives as Muslims, for instance, we are supposed to give, and that's a charitable thing. And it's not something out of the ordinary. It is something of the ordinary that we must try to do that. And of course, the issue is here because when we look at our working environment, whether it's in the private sector or the public sector, we find that we just do the minimum that we are given to do by our job descriptions and our work responsibilities, so to say. But as anybody who has led a team of workers and staff will know that those who will give without complaint of their own time are the ones who really we get to like and love also, because they will never put you down. They will never keep you standing dry. And so you tend to trust them more, and you will see that their performance also goes much better because they have seen a bond with you. They have acquired a bond with you because that is the way that things are natural. Otherwise, it's been very artificial. So look at that, because the lethargy of our government service, for instance, is one of the reasons that we take up this topic by endeavor, because our objective in our endeavor, the organization we call Endeavor, is to promote social welfare and social well-being. And so I would like our nation to progress, and the progress can come only with people taking initiative. And that's the kind of thing that we would like to promote. So that is the whole reason that we have taken this to be a very important part of our discussion today. But this lack of initiative is, it has a past, obviously. And many of us, we don't have to guess too far. Our past has been autocratic and politically autocratic. What I mean, mostly our political systems guide our social system, and it's not the other way around. We have been always a kingdom or some kind of a fiefdom that promote our well-being through not elected leaders, but who have inherited the mantle of leadership in the nation as kings or prime ministers or whatever. So in the past, we have been autocratic, and we were not used to doing what we could do, but we do things that that has been told to us. We were given a task and we do it, and that is the best we do. We do not want to do any more because we may be penalized or we might be scolded for that, because I told you to do only the things that I tell you. That kind of perception is inherent, and we never nurtured initiative. Even schools, we had very parochial approaches, meaning very closed and rigid systems. We learned by rote and did as we're told. We weren't given permission to do as we like, at least to try out how we can manage something, doing it in a different way. And all those, and even in families, we were brought up very, how to say, not encouraged to take initiative, and very cautious of bringing up, and in a very ordinary way, so to say. We weren't given the kind of opportunities to trial and try out. And that's why. So all in all, we were held back by the shackles of those yesteryears. And so it's natural for us not to suddenly take initiative. And so in our new democracy, I think we need to go beyond the call of duty if we are to improve as a nation, because only through us going ahead with what we feel we can do is what will make our nation push forward. So in government and private businesses also, it will increase organizational productivity, obviously, because people will go beyond the call of duty. They wouldn't just be only working for the monthly salary, so to say. And so if we can go beyond that, then we will have better organizational environment, happier environment where we all get together, better teamwork, and it will usher in a new ethos in government administration also. And that's what we want in the future, because we are an independent nation now. We are not held by the shackles of somebody else. And so in order for us to go ahead with what we want to be, we have to begin thinking in new ways and not be held back by past repressive DNA, perhaps. So individually also, I think we will inspire employees to give their best, and it will improve teamwork, and it will improve our performance. And it is the modern way that management has to be, delegated authority, not just being the boss telling you only what to do. Once upon a time, when we were very basic organizations, we had a foreman to tell us what to do. But right now, we are working with technical people, and we are at best, first among equals, rather than bosses and staff and servants. So we need to work on this and produce the new positive environment in which we can work, bring out new ideas, bring the creative spirit into existence, bring about long-term thinking, far thinking rather than just for tomorrow. And I think if we can do this, we will have a whole new nation with a whole new ethos, a whole new spirit guiding us in the future. But we need to do a lot of mentoring. We need to do, for the new employees that come, even in schools, we should teach the children to take initiative and try out new things. And that behooves our teachers and principals also to understand the children that they have, because each individual is different. We are not robots made in one type of straitjacket. We are individuals. Each one of us has our own skills, and we were sent to this world as skilled potentialities, and that's what we have to seek out, what we know to do best. And if we work hard and if we look deep enough, I think we'll find it. And that means we don't have to copy other people. We don't have to try to be another person. We just have to find who we are and try to be ourselves. And I think that's very important. We can mentor new employees. These are things which we can do to go beyond the call of duty. We can mentor new staff. We can help someone, for instance, who is slow in work, to help them finish work on time. And we can offer staff help in different situations. Maybe office needs to do some extracurricular activities, or some new thing comes up, and we have to help out. And we shouldn't say that, no, there's enough people there that can help. I need to go home. I can't spend my time here. And that means staying some overtime also, not necessarily taking overtime, but spending overtime without that remuneration. That is the spirit of giving. And I think we can do that. We can be a very good nation, and we will sort of graduate into another category of administration and private organizations. And also, if you look at NGOs also, we can begin really functioning, not for survival, but to really give something back to society for what it has given. And as Muslims, again, we were sent here to improve our world, our earth. And that becomes a very spiritual journey also for us. So I would think that we will build a new nation with that kind of spirit guiding us.
Thank you, Dr. Sattar. Since it's a recorded message, we don't have the privilege today to interact with him directly. So that's his take on the beyond the call of duty. I think this it was a very, very valuable message for both private sector and public sector. Coming to the policy framework effectiveness, what exactly could we do to devise policy framework such that staff become fired up to pursue their goals, to achieve their objectives set for the organizations, so that their motivation transcends mere monetary benefits or salary package, but rather they aspire to become better versions of themselves as they go along.
Certainly, to explain this point, let us look at the famous theorist Abraham Maslow, who introduced what they call hierarchy of needs theory. Here, I think when you mentioned about rewards, he has developed a pyramid where the bottom line of this pyramid, which is, he called it physiological needs. Staff should, in order to excel in their service or maximize their potential or competency, there are certain needs that need to be satisfied for the staff or the employees. So the physiological needs, according to Abraham Maslow, include things like, food, shelter, and these are basic needs that every staff requires.
Fundamental to survival.
Exactly. So if the salary is so low, which does not, is kind of, if you are kept in a position like underemployment, which means you have an employment, but the salary you get is not enough or adequate for your living, for your expenses that you had to go through, like utility bills and rent, if you're supposed to be paying rent then. So the physiological needs are not met. The staff is not motivated. He is living in a kind of stressful situation, which will not drive him to excel better. So that is why in most of the countries, or even civil services, when the staff is recruited, they are offered some fringe benefits, like in a housing scheme where they can buy through loans living quarters, so that he will have peace in mind. After work, you go back and rest, live with your family in the living quarters. So in the case of Maldives, civil servants are not given what they call allowance or additional monetary benefits to meet their physiological needs. Then second, the hierarchy, I'm going from bottom to the top. So he says safety needs, like there must be protection, job security for the staff, that he can or she can work, perform better. Most staffs are very ambitious when they join, when they take up, say, a job or employment. They, of course, looking at establish a good career, and they want prosper and progress in the career, rising step by step. But then if there was no, if he or she cannot see a future path of progress in the job, for example, in a ministry, then he or she would be demotivated, and he would take the current job as a temporary arrangement, and he will be hunting others, looking for a better job always, and will not be concentrating or putting his soul and heart into the job to make it, produce better performance or results.
This particular aspect is, I think, very dangerously pervasive in the public sector. Their motivation, not motivation, their sense of security is such that there is a very high degree of complacency about, they are very much entrenched in the civil service to such a degree that they, civil servants feel, or the public servants feel, they are very much protected, and regardless of their performance, oftentimes. What do you say about this? Is it unfairly, is it an unfair protection, or could it be improved?
Certainly improved. There's always room for improvement in the case of Maldives, but due to limited resources, and other kind of challenges we face as a developing country. We don't have much resources, but whatever resource we have, if that is managed scientifically well, then there will be what we call fairness, and people will have expectation, and they know there's hope that one day I'm within 5 years of my job, I could buy or I will be entitled to a 3-bedroom flat.
Okay.
If there was such fringe benefits, which is not within our management administration, we don't have such fringe benefits or auxiliary services that motivate the staff. So, then on the third ladder, hierarchy ladder, Maslow's theory, I said love and belonging. Now, intimacy, this is what you call building teamwork. You should be recognized as part of the whole organization and an important contributor to the organization. Although there are different divisions, sections, it should not be a kind of thing that divides the organization. There must be a very good sense, good teamwork and unity that should merge together so that the performance can be.
So what is the force multiplier as far as motivation is concerned? As far as motivation is concerned, to invest in training, how best could we invest in training to uplift the state of affairs or to move on to the next level? Last question. We have 2 or 3 minutes.
Certainly, 2 things we require now: skill set and mindset. These 2 elements can be promoted or can be advanced by training, as you said. Training today should be made a continuous process. Always the staff must be given in-service training so that their performance can be improved. New development must be told them and also given them new knowledge, new method of doing things better. These kind of knowledge and information or training can be imparted if you have continuous training programs, what is known as in-house training programs. So today, of course, we see knowledge is unfolding every day. New theories, new methodologies, new models are developed through research and teaching.
And revisions to existing theories and methods.
Actually, all of us today are living in a world of revision or reform. Improvement, in other words. We should
Continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement and progress is required. And therefore, after, say, a person having acquired a degree, 3-4 years of study, of course, he has been becoming very skillful, or his value goes up when you have a degree. But after 3-4 days today, due to unfolding rapid changes in the world, new knowledge always produced, and therefore after 3-4 years of your graduation, you become kind of outdated. You should continue. Today is the new era of artificial intelligence. Everyone is being now required to get familiar with AI, its tools, so that you can perform better, much smarter.
Absolutely. I think artificial intelligence is going to be a leveler to the challenges that are to come and that are already facing us. With this note, we end the program. Thank you very much, Dr. Shameem, for having delivered such a insightful and eye-opening talk. With this, we would like to see you again next time around. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum.